The sun hung low over the manicured lawns of Willow Creek Academy, a prestigious all-girls boarding school nestled in the affluent suburbs of Marin County, California. Its sprawling campus, with ivy-clad brick buildings and pristine pathways, lined with blooming jacarandas, exuded an air of exclusivity that seemed to whisper wealth and privilege. It was early September 2025, the start of a new academic year, and the air buzzed with the excitement of returning students. Cars rolled up to the main gate, a mix of sleek Teslas, polished Mercedes, and the occasional modest sedan, each unloading girls dressed in the school's navy and gold uniforms. Lily Carter sat in the passenger seat of her mother's faded blue Honda Civic, her hands fidgeting with the strap of her worn backpack. The car's air conditioning had given out years ago, and the late summer heat made the cracked vinyl seats stick to her legs. Her mother, Ellen, gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles pale against her work-worn hands. Ellen worked double shifts as a nurse at a community hospital in Oakland, and every penny she earned went toward giving Lily a better life. The scholarship to Willow Creek was Lily's ticket out of their cramped apartment, a chance to escape the cycle of struggle that defined their lives. "Lily, you listen to me," Ellen said, her voice firm but warm as she pulled into the drop-off zone. "This school is your future. Don't let anyone distract you. Focus on your studies, stay out of trouble, and keep your head down. You hear me?" Lily nodded, her dark brown eyes fixed on the dashboard. "I know, Mom. I'll be fine." Her voice carried a quiet determination, but inside her stomach churned with nerves. Willow Creek was a world apart from her old public school, where she'd been just another face in the crowd. Here, she was one of only a handful of scholarship students, and the weight of that difference already pressed against her. Ellen reached over, brushing a strand of Lily's curly black hair behind her ear. "You're smart, baby. Smarter than anyone here. Don't let them make you feel less." She smiled, but her eyes glistened with worry. "Call me if you need anything, okay?" "I will," Lily promised, stepping out of the car. She slung her backpack over her shoulder and waved as Ellen drove off, the Civic's engine rattling in the distance. Lily turned toward the towering iron gates of Willow Creek, where a group of girls had already gathered, their laughter echoing across the courtyard. Among them stood Ava Reynolds, Chloe Bennett, and Madison Harper, the elite trio, as the school called them. They were impossible to miss, their glossy hair catching the sunlight, their uniforms tailored to perfection. Ava, with her platinum blonde waves and sharp green eyes, was the unspoken leader, her father a tech mogul who'd funded half the school's new science wing. Chloe, with her sleek auburn ponytail and athletic build, was the daughter of a Hollywood producer, while Madison, with her jet-black bob and porcelain skin, came from a family of real estate tycoons. The trio moved with an effortless confidence, their presence commanding attention as their parents' luxury SUVs idled nearby. Lily watched as Ava's father, a tall man in a crisp suit, stepped out of a black Range Rover. He opened the door for Ava, planting a kiss on her forehead before handing her a sleek designer bag. "Make us proud, sweetheart," he said, his voice carrying over the hum of the crowd. Chloe and Madison received similar farewells, their parents showering them with hugs and whispered promises of weekend visits. The scene felt like something out of a movie, and Lily couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. Her mother's love was fierce, but it came without the trappings of wealth. "Hey, Lily." A familiar voice broke through her thoughts. Mia Rodriguez jogged toward her, her dark braid bouncing against her back. Mia, like Lily, was a scholarship student, her parents immigrants, who ran a small bodega in San Francisco. The two had met at orientation over the summer and bonded instantly over their shared outsider status. "Hey, Mia," Lily said, forcing a smile. "Ready for this?" Mia snorted, adjusting her glasses. "Ready to feel like we don't belong?" "Sure." She gestured toward the elite trio, who were now posing for selfies near the fountain. "Look at them. It's like they own the place." Lily followed her gaze. The trio's laughter rang out as they tossed their hair and checked their phones, oblivious to the other students watching them. "They kinda do," Lily muttered. "At least they act like it." "Come on," Mia said, nudging her. "Let's get to the dorm before they claim all the good beds." The dormitories at Willow Creek were a study in contrasts. The elite trio's corner of the senior girls' dorm was a spectacle. Beds draped in silk comforters, fairy lights strung along the walls, and vases of fresh roses delivered weekly by their families' assistants. Lily and Mia, meanwhile, shared a modest corner with standard-issue linens and a single shared desk. Their scholarship covered tuition and board, but the pocket money they received from their parents was barely enough for essentials, let alone the luxuries their peers took for granted. That Friday, the campus buzzed with anticipation for the weekend. Saturday was Salon Day, a tradition at Willow Creek, where students flocked to the school's upscale salon, staffed by professional stylists from San Francisco. The salon was a glittering oasis of mirrors and chrome, offering everything from keratin treatments to balayage highlights. But for Lily and Mia, it was a reminder of what they couldn't afford. In their dorm room, Mia sat cross-legged on Lily's bed, weaving Lily's curls into a neat French braid. "You're getting good at this," Lily said, inspecting her reflection in a small hand mirror. "Practice makes perfect," Mia replied, her fingers deftly twisting the strands. "Besides, we don't need their fancy salon. We've got skills." Lily laughed, but her eyes drifted to the elite trio's corner, where Ava, Chloe, and Madison were unpacking new hair accessories and debating which stylist to book. The trio always went first, a privilege they demanded and paid for, leaving the rest of the school waiting until they were done. As Mia finished the braid, Ava's voice cut through the room. "Oh, look at that," she said, her tone dripping with mockery. "The scholarship girls are playing salon. How quaint." Chloe and Madison giggled, their eyes gleaming with amusement. A few other girls nearby joined in, their laughter sharp and cutting. Lily's cheeks burned, but she kept her gaze on the mirror, pretending not to hear. "Don't let them get to you," Mia whispered, tying off the braid. "They're just jealous because you're smarter than all of them combined." Lily forced a smile, but the words stung. She wasn't naive. She knew the social hierarchy at Willow Creek was brutal, and she and Mia were at the bottom. Still, she couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to be part of the elite trio's world, to have their confidence, their money, their effortless charm. The next morning, the salon was a flurry of activity. Ava, Chloe, and Madison swept. In first, their appointments pre-booked with the top stylists. They lounged in plush chairs, sipping sparkling water while their hair was transformed into sleek blowouts and intricate updos. The rest of the students waited in the lobby, scrolling through their phones or chatting in hushed tones. Lily and Mia, having finished their own simple styles in the dorm, passed by the salon on their way to the library. As they crossed the courtyard, Madison's voice rang out. "Hey, scholarship girls! What's with the DIY hair? Can't afford a real stylist." The words hit like a slap. Lily froze, her heart pounding, but Mia grabbed her arm. "Ignore them," she hissed, pulling Lily along. "They're not worth it." But as they walked away, Lily couldn't shake the humiliation. She glanced back at the salon, where the elite trio's laughter echoed through the open doors. For the first time, she felt a flicker of resentment, not just at them, but at her own circumstances. She wanted more than the hand-me-down clothes and the constant worry about money. She wanted to belong. That Monday, in AP English, Lily buried herself in her copy of The Great Gatsby, her pencil scribbling notes in the margins. She loved the class, loved the way literature let her escape into other worlds. But as she read, Ava slid into the seat next to her, her perfume sharp and expensive. "You're always studying, aren't you?" Ava said, her voice low and conspiratorial. "Smart girl like you could be one of us, you know." Lily blinked, caught off guard. One of you? Ava smiled, her teeth perfect and white. Yeah, me, Chloe, Madison. We're going to a party this weekend at a club in the city. Exclusive VIP vibes. You should come. It's a chance to, level up. Lily's heart skipped. She'd heard about the elite trio's weekend escapades, rumors of sneaking out, private cars, and parties that broke every school rule. I don't know, she said, her voice hesitant. I'm not really into parties. Oh, come on, Ava said, leaning closer. You're not like Mia, always playing it safe. You're different. I see it. And trust me, opportunities like this don't come to everyone. Lily glanced across the room at Mia, who was hunched over her own book, oblivious to the conversation. The idea of joining the elite trio, even for one night, was intoxicating. Where's the party? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Ava's smile widened. A place called Eclipse, downtown. Our parents know people, so we get in. No questions asked, just say you're in and we'll handle the rest. Lily hesitated, her mother's warnings echoing in her mind. But the allure of being seen, of being part of something bigger, was too strong. Okay, she said finally. I'm in. Ava clapped her hands softly. Perfect. Meet us at the East Fence Saturday night, 10 p.m. sharp. And Lily, wear something cute. As Ava sauntered back to her seat, Lily's stomach twisted with a mix of excitement and dread. She glanced at Mia again, guilt creeping in. She knew Mia wouldn't approve, but this was her chance to prove she wasn't just the scholarship girl. She could be more. That night in the dorm, Lily sat on her bed, scrolling through her limited wardrobe on her old phone. She didn't have anything cute by Ava's standards, but she found a black dress she'd worn to a cousin's wedding last year. It was simple, but it would have to do. Mia, sitting at their shared desk, looked up from her chemistry textbook. You're awfully quiet, she said, her eyes narrowing. What's going on? Lily hesitated, then decided to come clean. Ava invited me to a party with them this weekend, at some club in the city. Mia's face fell. Lily, no, you know how they are. They sneak out, break rules, and their parents bail them out every time. You're not like them. I know, Lily said, her voice defensive. But it's just one night. I'm not stupid, Mia. I can handle it. Mia shook her head. This isn't about being stupid. It's about risk. You've worked too hard for this scholarship to throw it away on their games. I'm not throwing anything away, Lily snapped. I just want to see what it's like. Don't you ever get tired of being on the outside? Mia's expression softened, but her voice was firm. I'd rather be on the outside than lose myself trying to fit in with them. Promise me you'll be careful, okay? Lily nodded, but her mind was already elsewhere, picturing the lights of the club, the music, the chance to be someone new. Saturday. Night arrived, crisp and clear, with stars scattered across the California sky. Lily slipped into her black dress, her hands trembling as she applied a touch of lip gloss borrowed from another dorm mate. She glanced at Mia, who was pretending to read, but watching her with worried eyes. I'll be back before curfew, Lily said, though she wasn't sure if that was true. Mia didn't respond, just turned a page in her book. The silence between them felt heavy, but Lily pushed it aside and slipped out of the dorm. The east fence was a low, decorative barrier hidden behind a row of eucalyptus trees. Ava, Chloe, and Madison were already there, dressed in designer outfits that made Lily's dress feel like a thrift store find. Ava smirked as she approached. Not bad, Carter. Let's go. The girls climbed over the fence with practiced ease, their movements silent and swift. On the other side, a black SUV waited, its tinted windows gleaming under the streetlights. A man stepped out, tall, handsome, with a charming smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Ladies, he said, opening the door for Ava, who slid into the front seat. Hop in. Lily hesitated, her heart pounding, but Madison gave her a nudge. "Don't chicken out now," she whispered. Lily climbed into the back seat with Chloe and Madison, the leather seats cool against her skin. The man, who introduced himself as James, drove them into San Francisco, the city lights stretching out like a glittering promise. Eclipse was everything Ava had described: exclusive, pulsing with bass, and filled with people who looked like they belonged on magazine covers. James led them to a VIP section, where bottles of sparkling water and energy drinks waited. The girls were underage after all, but the club turned a blind eye. Lily felt out of place, her dress too plain, her movements too stiff. But Ava pulled her onto the dance floor, and soon the music drowned out her doubts. James watched her from the sidelines, his gaze lingering a little too long. When he approached her later, offering a sleek new iPhone, just because, Lily's breath caught. "For me?" she asked, her voice barely audible over the music. "For you," James said, his smile warm. "A girl like you deserves nice things." Lily took the phone, her fingers trembling. It was the kind of gift she'd never dreamed of owning. As the night wore on, James stayed close, complimenting her, making her laugh. For the first time, Lily felt seen, not as the scholarship girl, but as someone who mattered. When the girls climbed back over the fence at 2 a.m., Lily's head was spinning. With excitement, she clutched the iPhone, her heart racing with the thrill of the night. Ava, Chloe, and Madison were already planning the next outing, and they included her without hesitation. Back in the dorm, Lily hid the phone under her pillow, avoiding Mia's questioning gaze. "How was it?" Mia asked, her voice tight. "Amazing," Lily said, unable to hide her grin. "You should have come." Mia didn't reply, just turned off her lamp and pulled the covers over her head. Over the next few weeks, Lily's life began to change. She started skipping study sessions to hang out with the elite trio, learning their slang, their gestures, their way of commanding a room. James called her daily, his voice smooth and reassuring, promising more gifts, more nights out. Lily felt like she was finally part of something bigger, something glamorous. But Mia noticed the shift. "You're not yourself," she said one evening, cornering Lily in the dorm. "You're blowing off classes, Lily. Your grades are slipping, and this James guy, who is he anyway?" "He's just a friend," Lily said, her tone sharp. "And my grades are fine. Stop worrying." "They're not fine," Mia shot back. "You were top of the class last semester, now you're barely passing, and sneaking out every weekend. If the school finds out—" "They won't," Lily interrupted. "Ava says their parents have the school wrapped around their finger." "No one's getting in trouble." Mia shook her head. "You're playing with fire, Lily, and you're going to get burned." But Lily didn't listen. The allure of the elite trio's world was too strong, and James's attention made her feel like she was finally someone important. She pushed Mia's warnings aside, convinced she could handle it all. The weeks following Lily's first night at Eclipse blurred into a whirlwind of excitement and secrecy. Every Saturday, she joined Ava, Chloe, and Madison at the east fence of Willow Creek Academy, their sneakers silent against the dew-soaked grass as they scaled the low barrier. The black SUV driven by James or one of his friends was always waiting, its engine purring like a promise of adventure. The club became their playground, a dazzling escape from the rigid structure of boarding school life, where rules were bent and wealth opened every door. Lily adapted quickly to the elite trio's world. Ava taught her how to tilt her head just so, to laugh with a practiced ease that drew attention. Chloe showed her how to dance with confidence, her movements fluid under the pulsing lights. Madison, the quietest of the three, offered tips on makeup and lent her dresses that cost more than Lily's mother earned in a month. The iPhone James had given her was now a constant companion, buzzing with texts from him and the trio, pulling her deeper into their orbit. But the cost of belonging was steep. Lily's grades, once her pride, began to slip. She'd always been at the top of her classes, her scholarship a testament to her academic prowess. Now she skipped study sessions to text James or plan outfits for the next outing. Her AP English essays, once meticulously crafted, were now rushed, littered with careless errors. Her chemistry teacher, Mrs. Thompson, the school counsellor, pulled her aside one afternoon, her brow furrowed with concern. "Lily, your last quiz was a C-," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice gentle but firm. "That's not like you. Is everything okay?" Lily shifted in her seat, avoiding the counselor's gaze. "I'm fine, Mrs. Thompson, just adjusting to senior year." Mrs. Thompson's eyes narrowed, but she didn't press further. "You've got a bright future, Lily. Don't let distractions derail it. My door's always open if you need to talk." Lily nodded, mumbling a thank you before hurrying out of the office. But the warning lingered, a faint echo of her mother's voice, urging her to focus. She pushed it down, telling herself she could balance it all: school, the trio, James. She wasn't like Mia, who spent every night hunched over textbooks, content to fade into the background. Mia. The thought of her friend brought a pang of guilt. Their once close bond had frayed, replaced by strained silences and pointed glances. Mia still braided Lily's hair some morning stump-out evenings, but Lily now went to the school salon with the elite trio, paying extra for the stylist to prioritize her. Mia's warnings about the trio had gone unheeded, and Lily's new status as one of the cool girls meant she no longer had time for Mia's quiet companionship. When they passed each other in the dorm, Mia's eyes were filled with disappointment, but Lily avoided her gaze, unwilling to face the truth in her friend's expression. One Friday evening in October, as Lily applied mascara in the dorm bathroom, Mia leaned against the doorframe, her arms crossed. "You're going out again tomorrow, aren't you?" she asked, her voice quiet but sharp. Lily didn't look up, focusing on her reflection. "Yeah, so?" Mia sighed. "Lily, this isn't you, sneaking out, blowing off your work. You're risking everything, the scholarship, your future, and for what, a bunch of parties?" Lily capped the mascara, her jaw tight. "I'm having fun, Mia. You should try it sometime. Not everything's about grades." "It's not about grades," Mia shot back. "It's about not throwing away everything you've worked for. Those girls, they don't care about you. They're using you to make themselves feel better. And that James guy, he's bad news. You don't even know him." "I know enough," Lily said, her voice rising. "He cares about me. He gives me things. Takes me places. He's not like the guys at home, Mia. He's different." Mia shook her head. "You're blind, Lily. You think you're one of them now, but you're not. You're just their shiny new toy, and when they're done with you, they'll toss you aside." The words stung, but Lily brushed them off. "You're just jealous," she said, grabbing her purse. "I'm finally somebody here, Mia. I'm not invisible anymore." Mia's eyes softened, but her voice stayed firm. "You were never invisible to me." Lily didn't respond. She turned and left the bathroom, her heart pounding with a mix of anger and guilt. Mia didn't understand. She couldn't. The elite trio had given Lily a taste of a life she'd never dreamed of: glamour, attention, the thrill of being wanted. She wasn't going back to being the scholarship girl who braided her own hair and ate off-brand snacks in the dorm. The next night at Eclipse, the music was louder, the crowd more electric. James was there, as always, his dark hair tousled just right, his smile disarming. He pulled Lily into a hug, his cologne sharp and intoxicating. "Missed you, princess," he said, his lips brushing her forehead. The gesture felt intimate, special, and Lily's heart fluttered. He led her to the VIP section where Ava, Chloe, and Madison were already sipping energy drinks, their laughter sharp and bright. James handed Lily a drink, his fingers lingering on hers. "You're looking good tonight," he said, his eyes scanning her borrowed dress, a shimmering silver number from Chloe's closet. "You belong here." Lily smiled, her cheeks warm. She did belong. For the first time, she felt like she was part of something bigger, something important. The trio included her in their banter, their inside jokes, and James's attention made her feel like the center of the universe. He gave her another gift that night, a delicate gold bracelet that gleamed under the club's lights. "For my favorite girl," he said, fastening it around her wrist. The weeks turned into months, and Lily's life became a cycle of school days and secret nights. She learned to mimic Ava's confident strut, to toss her hair like Chloe, to laugh with Madison's sly edge. Her grades continued to slide, B's turned to C's, and her once perfect attendance record was marred by skipped classes. Mrs. Thompson called her in again, her expression more serious this time. "Lily, you're on academic probation," she said, sliding a report across her desk. "Your scholarship is at risk. If your GPA doesn't improve by the end of the semester, you could lose it." Lily's stomach dropped, but she forced a nod. "I'll fix it," she said, but the words felt hollow. She couldn't imagine giving up the nights at Eclipse, the thrill of James's attention, the rush of being part of the elite trio. She'd catch up later, she told herself. There was still time, but time had a way of slipping away. By December, Lily was fully entrenched in the trio's world. She spent her pocket money on makeup and accessories, trying to keep up with their polished image. James's gifts kept coming. New earrings, a designer purse, cash slipped into her hand with a wink. He called her every day, his voice smooth and reassuring, calling her princess and angel. She lived for those calls, for the way he made her feel special. One night in January, as they danced at Eclipse, James pulled her close, his hands resting on her hips. "You're different, Lily," he whispered. "You're not like those other girls. You're real." His words sent a shiver through her, and when he kissed her under the strobe lights, she didn't pull away. It was her first kiss, clumsy, but electric, and it felt like a promise of something more. Mia, meanwhile, grew more distant. She stopped asking Lily to study with her, stopped offering to braid her hair. When they passed in the dorm, Mia's eyes were cold, her silence louder than any lecture. Lily told herself she didn't need Mia's approval. She had Ava, Chloe, Madison, and James. She was one of the elite now, but cracks began to show. One night in February, Lily woke up feeling off, nausea, fatigue, a strange heaviness in her body. She brushed it off as stress, but when her period didn't come, panic set in. She bought a pregnancy test from a drugstore in the city, sneaking it into the dorm bathroom. The 2 pink lines stared back at her, stark and undeniable. Her hands shook as she shoved the test into her bag. She couldn't be pregnant. Not now, not when everything was finally falling into place. She confided in Ava the next day, pulling her aside in the salon. "I need help," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I think I'm pregnant." Ava's eyes widened, but her expression quickly hardened. "Seriously, Lily, how could you be so careless? We don't get pregnant. We take care of things." "I didn't mean to," Lily said, tears prickling her eyes. "I don't know what to do." Chloe and Madison, overhearing, exchanged glances. "You need to fix this," Chloe said, her voice cold. "We can't have you dragging us down." "Talk to James," Madison added. "He'll know what to do." But when Lily called James, his tone was different, sharp, impatient. "You're sure it's mine?" he asked, his voice devoid of the warmth she'd come to expect. "Of course it's yours," Lily said, her heart racing. "You're the only one meet me at my place," he cut her off. "Tomorrow night, we'll figure it out." The next evening, Lily climbed the fence alone, her stomach churning with fear. James's apartment was in a sleek high-rise in San Francisco, its modern decor and floor-to-ceiling windows a far cry from her mother's cramped apartment. She'd been there before, but always with the trio, always in a haze of music and laughter. Tonight it felt cold, sterile. James opened the door, his expression unreadable. "So what's the plan?" he asked, not inviting her to sit. Lily's voice shook. "I'm pregnant, James. I need your help." He laughed, a harsh sound that made her flinch. "You think I'm dealing with this? You're just a kid, Lily. I gave you nice things, showed you a good time. That's it." "But you said I was special," she said, her voice breaking. "You said, I say a lot of things," he snapped. "Give me back the phone, the bracelet, all of it. I don't need this drama." Tears streamed down Lily's face as she unclasped the bracelet and handed over the iPhone. James shoved her toward the door. "Go home, kid, and don't call me again." Outside, Lily stood on the sidewalk, the city lights blurring through her tears. She felt hollow, betrayed, but worst of all, alone. The elite trio's reaction was no better. When she told them what happened, Ava rolled her eyes. "You really thought he'd stick around? God, Lily, grow up." "We can't be seen with you now," Chloe added. "This is too messy." Madison just shook her head. "You should have been smarter." Lily returned to the dorm, climbing the fence with heavy limbs. Mia was awake, reading by lamplight. She took one look at Lily's tear-streaked face and stood, her anger melting into concern. "What happened?" she asked. Lily collapsed onto her bed, sobbing. "I'm pregnant, Mia, and James, he's married. He lied to me. The girls won't help. I don't know what to do." Mia sat beside her, her hand resting on Lily's back. "You need to tell your mum," she said softly. "She'll know what to do." "I can't," Lily choked out. "She'll hate me." "I threw away everything she told me." "She won't hate you," Mia said. "She loves you, but you can't fix this alone." Lily shook her head, her mind racing. She couldn't face her mother, not after ignoring her warnings. She couldn't tell the school either. They'd expel her and she'd lose her scholarship. The only option, she decided, was to handle it herself. The next weekend, she found a clinic online, a shady place in a rundown part of the city. She didn't tell the trio, didn't tell Mia. She took a bus alone, her hands trembling as she handed over the cash she'd saved from James's gifts. The doctor was brusque, the room sterile but unsettling. "This is risky at this stage," he warned, his voice flat. "You're almost 3 months along." "Just do it," Lily said, her voice hollow. The procedure was quick but painful, and when it was over, Lily felt a strange mix of relief and dread. She climbed back over the fence that night, her body aching, her mind numb. As she approached the dorm's connecting gate, a wave of dizziness hit her. Her vision blurred, and she stumbled, collapsing onto the grass. Blood seeped through her jeans, warm and alarming. A group of students nearby saw her fall and screamed, their voices piercing the night. The school's security team arrived within minutes, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. "She's bleeding!" one of them shouted, and soon Lily was being lifted onto a stretcher, the world fading in and out. At the hospital, the lights were too bright, the voices too loud. Doctors worked frantically, their faces grim. Lily's parents were called, and Ellen arrived, her face pale with fear and grief. "Oh, Lily," she whispered, clutching her daughter's hand. "Why didn't you tell me?" Lily tried to speak, but her voice was weak. The doctors explained the complications, a botched procedure, severe bleeding, infection setting in. They operated twice, but the damage was too great. Lily's body, weakened by months of neglect and stress, couldn't keep up. As the monitors beeped slower, Lily's thoughts drifted to her mother's warnings, to Mia's loyalty, to the scholarship she'd thrown away. She wanted to say she was sorry, but the words wouldn't come. The last thing she saw was her mother's tear-streaked face, and then the world went dark. The hospital room was sterile and silent, save for the faint hum of machines that no longer served a purpose. Ellen Carter sat beside the bed, her hands clasped tightly around Lily's, her face etched with a grief too heavy for tears. The monitors had gone quiet, their once steady beeps replaced by a flat line that echoed in Ellen's heart. Her daughter, her bright, determined Lily, was gone. The doctors had done all they could, but the botched procedure, the infection, the blood loss, it had been too much. Ellen's world had shattered in a matter of hours, and the weight of it pressed her into the chair, her body trembling with the effort to breathe. Mia Rodriguez stood in the doorway, her eyes red and swollen. She'd come as soon as she heard, sneaking out of the dorms despite the lockdown imposed by Willow Creek's administration. The news had spread like wildfire. Lily Carter, scholarship student, had collapsed outside the dorms, bleeding and unconscious. By the time Mia reached the hospital, it was too late. She clutched the edge of the door frame, her legs threatening to give out as she stared at Ellen's bowed head. "I'm so sorry," Mia whispered, her voice breaking. Ellen looked up, her eyes hollow but kind. "You were her friend." "Ellen," said, her voice barely audible. "She talked about you all the time, said you were the only one who got her." Mia's throat tightened. "I tried to stop her. I told her those girls were trouble, but she wouldn't listen. I should have tried harder." Ellen shook her head. "This isn't your fault, Mia. Lily made her choices. I warned her too, but she wanted so badly to fit in. I should have been there more, should have checked in." Mia stepped into the room, her sneakers squeaking against the linoleum. "She loved you," she said. "She was scared to disappoint you. That's why she didn't tell you about everything." Ellen's lips trembled, and she pressed them together, nodding. "I just wanted her to have a better life. This scholarship, this school, it was supposed to be her way out. And now—" The words hung unfinished, swallowed by the weight of loss. Mia sat beside Ellen, and they stayed there in silence, mourning the girl who'd been caught between two worlds and lost herself in the chase for one. Back at Willow Creek, the campus was a storm of whispers and tears. By morning, the administration had called an emergency assembly in the auditorium, the air thick with tension. Students sat in rows, their usual chatter replaced by hushed speculation. The elite trio, Ava, Chloe, and Madison, sat near the front, their faces pale but composed, their eyes fixed on the stage. They hadn't spoken to anyone since the news broke, their usual confidence replaced by a guarded silence. Headmistress Clara Vaughan took the podium, her expression grim. She was a formidable woman, her grey hair pulled into a tight bun, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Students, faculty, we are gathered here under tragic circumstances," she began. "Last night, one of our own, Lily Carter, passed away due to complications from a medical procedure. This loss is devastating, and our hearts go out to her family." A murmur rippled through the crowd, some girls wiping tears, others staring at their laps. Mia sat near the back, her hands clenched in her lap, her mind replaying every moment she'd spent with Lily, their late-night talks, their shared dreams of college, the way Lily's face lit up when she aced a test. She wanted to scream, to tell everyone how the elite trio had lured Lily into their world, how they'd abandoned her when she needed them most. But she stayed silent, her grief too raw for words. Mrs. Thompson, the counselor, stood beside the headmistress, her eyes scanning the room. "We are investigating the circumstances surrounding Lily's death," she said. "We urge anyone with information to come forward. This is a time for honesty and reflection. We must support each other and ensure nothing like this happens again." The assembly ended with instructions for grief counseling and a reminder to adhere to school rules. But as the students filed out, the whispers grew louder. Some blamed Lily, calling her reckless. Others pointed fingers at the elite trio, their reputation for sneaking out no secret among the student body. Ava, Chloe, and Madison kept their heads down, avoiding eye contact as they slipped into the hallway. In the days that followed, Willow Creek was transformed. Security was tightened, the east fence reinforced with higher barriers and cameras. Curfew checks became stricter, and the administration launched a full investigation into the students' off-campus activities. Rumors swirled about Ava's father pulling strings to keep the trio out of trouble, but even his influence couldn't silence the growing outrage. Parents demanded answers, and the local news picked up the story, painting Willow Creek as a school where wealth shielded rule breakers. Mia threw herself into her studies, using schoolwork to numb the pain. She avoided the elite trio, who had retreated into their own bubble, their laughter no longer echoing through the dorms. But one afternoon, as Mia studied in the library, Ava approached her, her usual swagger replaced by a nervous edge. "Mia, can we talk?" Ava asked, her voice low. Mia looked up, her eyes cold. "What do you want?" Ava shifted, glancing around to ensure no one was listening. "We didn't mean for this to happen. Lily, she made her own choices. We didn't force her to do anything." Mia's hands tightened around her pencil. "You dragged her into your world. You knew she didn't belong, but you used her to make yourselves feel better. And when she needed you, you turned your backs." Ava's face flushed. "That's not fair. We told her to be careful. She's the one who—" "Stop," Mia cut her off, her voice shaking. "You don't get to blame her. She was my friend, Ava. She trusted you and you let her down. You let her die." Ava's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't argue. She turned and walked away, her shoulders hunched. Mia watched her go, her anger giving way to exhaustion. She didn't hate Ava. Not really. She hated the system that let girls like Ava, Chloe, and Madison skate by while girls like Lily paid the price. Mrs. Thompson became Mia's lifeline in the weeks that followed. The counselor checked in regularly, offering a space to talk about Lily, about guilt, about the future. During one session, Mia broke down, her words spilling out in a rush. "I should have stopped her," she said. "I saw her changing, but I didn't know how to pull her back." Mrs. Thompson leaned forward, her voice gentle. "You can't control someone else's choices, Mia. You tried to warn her, and that's more than most would have done. What you can do now is honor her memory by staying true to yourself." Mia nodded, wiping her eyes. "I want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. Lily deserved better. We all do." Inspired by those words, Mrs. Thompson proposed a new program at Willow Creek, a peer mentorship initiative focused on building community and addressing peer pressure. Mia volunteered to help, speaking at assemblies about the dangers of risky behavior and the importance of seeking help. She shared Lily's story, not the details of her death, but her dreams, her kindness, her struggle to belong. The program gained traction, with students forming support groups and faculty implementing stricter oversight of social dynamics. Ellen, meanwhile, channeled her grief into advocacy. She sued the illegal clinic that performed Lily's procedure, working with a pro bono lawyer to expose its practices. The case drew attention to the dangers of unregulated medical facilities, and Ellen became a voice for other families who'd lost loved ones to similar tragedies. She visited Willow Creek once, meeting with Mia and Mrs. Thompson to thank them for keeping Lily's memory alive. "You're a good friend," Ellen told Mia, her voice thick with emotion. "Lily was lucky to have you." Mia shook her head. "I was the lucky one." The elite trio faced consequences, though not as severe as some hoped. Ava's father's influence ensured they weren't expelled, but they were placed on probation, their privileges revoked. The school salon, once their domain, became a symbol of change, with funds redirected to support scholarships for more students like Lily and Mia. Ava, Chloe, and Madison faded into the background, their once dominant presence diminished by shame and scrutiny. By spring, Willow Creek felt different. The campus was quieter, the air heavy with lessons learned. Mia stood at the east fence one evening, now topped with barbed wire, and thought of Lily. She imagined her friend's laugh, her stubborn determination, the way she'd light up when she talked about her dreams of becoming a doctor. Mia vowed to carry those dreams forward, to make something of herself, to never let the allure of belonging blind her to what mattered. The moral of Lily's story spread beyond Willow Creek. Parents talked to their daughters about the dangers of peer pressure, the importance of listening to those who loved them. Teachers emphasized the value of education over fleeting popularity. And Mia, once an outsider, found her voice, using it to advocate for change, to ensure no one else would lose themselves the way Lily had. As the school year ended, Mia stood at graduation, her diploma in hand, her eyes fixed on the horizon. She'd been accepted to UC Berkeley on a full scholarship, a step toward the future she and Lily had once dreamed of together. She dedicated her speech to Lily, her voice steady despite the tears. "This is for you," she whispered as she stepped off the stage, knowing Lily was listening somewhere, somehow. The story of Lily Carter became a cautionary tale at Willow Creek, a reminder to young girls to focus on their studies, to heed the advice of those who loved them, and to seek help when faced with impossible choices. It taught them that the pursuit of belonging could come at a devastating cost, but that true strength lay in staying true to oneself. For Mia, it was a lesson carved into her heart, a promise to live for both herself and the friend she'd lost. The summer sun cast long shadows across the Willow Creek Academy campus, its once vibrant lawns now quiet in the absence of students. It was June 2025, and the school year had ended, leaving behind a community forever changed by Lily Carter's tragedy. The reinforced east fence, now topped with barbed wire and monitored by security cameras, stood as a silent testament to the lessons learned. For Mia Rodriguez, the silence was deafening. She stood at the edge of the campus, her suitcase packed for the summer, her heart heavy with the weight of the past year. Mia's graduation had been bittersweet. Her speech, dedicated to Lily, had moved the audience to tears, earning a standing ovation from her peers and faculty. The scholarship to UC Berkeley was her ticket to a future she and Lily had once dreamed of together. Late-night talks about becoming doctors, about making their families proud. But as Mia prepared to leave Willow Creek, she felt Lily's absence, like a physical ache. She wondered if she'd done enough, if she could have pulled Lily back from the edge before it was too late. Back in Oakland, Ellen Carter sat in her small apartment, surrounded by boxes of Lily's belongings. The scholarship had brought them hope, a chance for Lily to rise above their circumstances, but now those dreams lay in fragments. Ellen had kept Lily's favorite scarf, a faded blue thing she'd worn every winter, draped over the back of the couch. It was a small comfort, a piece of her daughter she could still touch. The lawsuit against the illegal clinic was moving forward, slow but steady, and Ellen found purpose in the fight. She'd spoken at community centers, warning parents about the dangers of unregulated medical facilities, her voice steady despite the grief that lingered in her eyes. "I failed her," Ellen confessed one evening to her sister Maria over coffee at their kitchen table. "I was so busy working I didn't see how lost she was." Maria, a schoolteacher with a no-nonsense demeanor, shook her head. "You didn't fail her, Ellen. You gave her everything you had. Those girls, that school, they pulled her into something you couldn't control." Ellen sipped her coffee, her hands trembling. "She was so bright, Maria. She could have been anything. I told her to stay focused, to avoid distractions, but I didn't realize how hard it would be for her to fit in there." Maria reached across the table, squeezing her sister's hand. "You're doing something now. This lawsuit, your talks, you're making sure other kids don't go through what Lily did. That's her legacy too." Ellen nodded, wiping her eyes. She'd started a small foundation in Lily's name, using donations from the community to fund scholarships for low-income students. It wasn't much, but it was a start, a way to keep Lily's memory alive while helping others avoid her fate. At Willow Creek, the faculty grappled with their own reckoning. Headmistress Clara Vaughan sat in her office, reviewing reports from the investigation into Lily's death. The findings were damning: lax oversight, favoritism toward wealthy students, and a culture that allowed rule-breaking to flourish unchecked. The elite trio, Ava, Chloe, and Madison, hadn't been expelled, thanks to their parents' influence, but their probation was strict. They'd lost their leadership roles, their access to the salon, and their social dominance. The school board, under pressure from parents and the media, had demanded reforms, and Clara was determined to see them through. Mrs. Thompson, the counselor, became the driving force behind the changes. Her peer mentorship program, inspired by Mia's advocacy, had taken root. Students were trained to support each other, to recognize signs of distress, to speak up when they saw someone struggling. The program included workshops on peer pressure, self-esteem, and the dangers of risky behavior, with guest speakers like Ellen sharing their stories. Mrs. Thompson also pushed for a scholarship fund to support more students like Lily and Mia, ensuring they wouldn't feel like outsiders in a sea of wealth. One afternoon, as Mrs. Thompson organized files in her office, Ava Reynolds knocked on the door. The once confident girl looked small, her blonde hair pulled into a messy bun, her eyes red from crying. "Can I talk to you?" Ava asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mrs. Thompson gestured to a chair. "Of course, Ava. What's on your mind?" Ava sat, her hands twisting in her lap. "I can't stop thinking about Lily. Everyone blames us, me, Chloe, Madison, and they're not wrong. I invited her to that first party. I made her think she needed to be like us." Mrs. Thompson leaned forward, her expression kind but firm. "You played a role, Ava, but Lily made her own choices. The question is, what are you going to do now? How are you going to make this right?" Ava's tears fell freely. "I don't know. I didn't think it would go this far. I wanted her to like me, to think I was cool, but I messed everything up." Mrs. Thompson handed her a tissue. "You can't change the past, but you can change how you move forward. You're a leader, Ava, whether you realize it or not. Use that influence for good. Help other girls avoid the mistakes you made." Ava nodded, her resolve hardening. Over the summer, she volunteered with the mentorship program, speaking candidly about her role in Lily's story. It was humbling, painful work, but it gave her a sense of purpose. Chloe and Madison joined her, their guilt pushing them to make amends. They weren't the same girls who'd laughed at Lily's braided hair or flaunted their wealth. The tragedy had stripped away their arrogance, leaving them to face their own vulnerabilities. Mia, meanwhile, spent the summer preparing for Berkeley. She worked part-time at her parents' bodega, saving every penny for books and supplies. Her parents, proud but worried, hovered over her, their questions about Willow Creek tinged with fear. "You're not getting mixed up with those rich girls, are you?" her mother asked one evening, chopping onions for dinner. "No, Mama," Mia said, her voice steady. "I learned from Lily. I'm staying focused." Her father, wiping his hands on his apron, nodded. "Good. You're our future, Mika. Don't forget that." Mia carried their expectations with pride, but also with a quiet sorrow. She missed Lily's laughter, her stubborn optimism, the way she'd push Mia to dream bigger. At night, she'd scroll through old photos on her phone, selfies from their first week at Willow Creek, goofy faces in the dorm, Lily's proud smile when she aced her first AP exam. Mia vowed to carry those memories forward, to make something of herself for both of them. In August, before leaving for Berkeley, Mia visited Ellen one last time. They met at a park near Ellen's apartment, sitting on a bench under a sprawling oak tree. The air was warm, the sky streaked with pink from the setting sun. Ellen handed Mia a small box, her hands trembling slightly. "This was Lily's," she said, opening the box to reveal the blue scarf. "She'd want you to have it." Mia took the scarf, her fingers brushing the soft fabric. "I don't know what to say," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "You don't have to say anything," Ellen said. "Just keep going, Mia. Be the doctor she wanted to be. That's enough." Mia nodded, clutching the scarf to her chest. "I will. I promise." As she walked away, the scarf tucked into her bag, Mia felt a sense of purpose settle over her. Lily's story wasn't just a tragedy, it was a warning, a call to action. Mia would carry it with her through Berkeley, through medical school, through every challenge ahead. She'd make sure Lily's light kept shining, even in the darkness. Back at Willow Creek, the new school year began with a different energy. The salon, once a symbol of privilege, now offered free services to scholarship students, funded by donations from Ellen's foundation. The East Fence, once a gateway to rebellion, was now a reminder of accountability. Students spoke more openly about their struggles, and the mentorship program grew, with upperclassmen guiding freshmen through the pressures of high school. The elite trio, now seniors, were quieter. Their influence diminished, but their presence softer, more human. Ava took the lead in the mentorship program, sharing her mistakes with a vulnerability that surprised her peers. Chloe organized fundraisers for the scholarship fund, her athletic energy channeled into something positive. Madison, always the quiet one, wrote an anonymous editorial for the school paper, urging students to value themselves over popularity. It was a small step, but it mattered. The media coverage of Lily's death faded, but its impact lingered. Ellen's lawsuit led to the closure of the illegal clinic, and new regulations were proposed to protect vulnerable teens. Community centers across California began offering workshops on safe choices, with Ellen as a frequent speaker. Her voice, once silenced by grief, became a beacon for change. Mia, now at Berkeley, kept in touch with Mrs. Thompson, who sent updates about Willow Creek's progress. "You started something here," Mrs. Thompson wrote in an email. "Lily's story changed us all." Mia read the email late one night in her dorm, the blue scarf draped over her chair. She thought of Lily's smile, her dreams, her mistakes. She thought of the elite trio, of James, of the systems that let wealth and privilege shield some while others paid the price, and she thought of her own path, clear and unwavering. The moral of Lily's story was simple but profound. Listen to those who love you, value your education, and seek help when you're lost. For young girls, it was a reminder to resist the allure of fleeting popularity, to hold fast to their dreams, and to trust that their worth wasn't tied to wealth or status. For Mia, it was a vow to live for herself and for Lily, to build a future that honored them both. As the sun set over Berkeley's campus, Mia stood at her window, the city lights stretching out before her. She touched the scarf, its fabric soft against her fingers, and whispered, "This is for you, Lily, always." Lily's story became a touchstone for Willow Creek and beyond, a cautionary tale etched into the hearts of those who heard it. It taught young girls to prioritize their futures, to heed the wisdom of their parents, and to seek help rather than solutions that could cost them everything. For Mia, it was a lifelong commitment to carry Lily's dreams forward, to ensure her friend's light never faded.